What is good, people? We are back again with another show, the Wavy Man United Show, episode 2. We're going to be doing a little trial and error today or, this week on the lives. We got a lot of news to discuss, some midfield news, you feel me? A lot of different transfer talks today. Not too much different, but just a little bit of extra color to some of the things we've already been talking about. We have a special guest coming on as well. So, guys, as you're coming in, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for me. We're gunning for 500 subscribers on YouTube. You feel me? So make sure you show some love. Okay, we're gonna get right into it. You feel me? We're gonna get right into it. A lot of different talks today. You feel me? So, first one that I want to discuss, right, is the news surrounding Ugarte and Richard Rios, or Ricardo Rios, excuse me. Both of those names, Ugarte as well as Rios, the prices that have been put on there, the price tags that PSG as well as Rios's club have put on them are really high. You know what I'm saying? So Ugarte, apparently they want 75 million euros for him. And Richard Rios, they also want 75, upwards of, I think his release clause is like 75 million pounds or euros. So both of those clubs are asking for a ton of money. They're asking for a ton of money. You feel me? If I was Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if I was Omar Barada, Sir Dave, I'd walk away from this deal with haste. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. Both of those deals, if they're trying to, especially the Ugarte one is crazy. You feel me? The Ugarte one is actually ridiculous because they're asking for more money than they originally got for him, and he didn't even have like an amazing season, right? Luis Enrique didn't really favor him. He lost his place to Vitinha. Vitinha was essentially their deep line playmaker. They would play Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha. Ugarte would be the odd man out. You feel me? So doesn't make any sense that we would go and then spend 75 million euros for him. I would walk away from that deal, which is why I think the likes of Zubamendi as well as Fofana are on the dockets for us, right? We've seen a little bit of reports surrounding Zubamendi, you feel me? And it's interesting to see. I wonder. I would prefer us to get Zubamendi. You feel me? That would be my go-to. That would be my go-to option would be Zubamendi. But we'll see what actually happens. You feel me? We'll see what actually happens. I personally. Oh, let me back out of there real quick. It looks like we have a little double screen here. Let me stop that. I'll try and present that again. 1 second, guys. Yeah, let me share that one more time. There we go. As you guys can see, I'll zoom it in for you. Guys, so you can see it. So yeah, this dropped about 12 hours ago or something like that. Manchester United have added Martin Zubamendi to their list of midfield targets. He has a 50 million pound release clause. I think a 50 million pound release clause is a great deal for a player of that quality. But we got a comment here. Shout out to Ryan Cure. Much love. Why early reports said Richard Rios feels around 17 million. Then he got a release clause of 75 M's all of a sudden. I think that was one because he was a relatively unknown prospect. You feel me? Like, yeah, he had a great Copa America, and that's what really drove up his price. You feel me? But yeah, the initial reports were 17 million, and he does apparently has a release clause of 75 million. Now, I don't think any top club is going to pay 75 million. I just think they're protecting they think they can get more than 17 million. And fair play. I think they probably could get more than 17 million. So I think this is just like a tactic that they're using. You feel me, to drive up the price. So maybe somebody won't spend 75 million, but they may spend, like 40 million. Who knows? I think the right club would go for that. I think the right club would go for that. So yeah, I think it's just a tactic. You feel me? I really think it's just a tactic. And we'll see how it plays out. You feel me? We'll see how it actually all plays out. I think that again, Richard Rios as well as Zubamendi are players I think I would really like to be in our team. I prefer them over an Ugarte. You feel me? And also Fofana. I think Fofana is a really good player. Like he's not like sexy on the eye or whatever, but I think that he's a player that would improve our squad. He's a 6. He can do the screening role. He's good enough on the ball. He's better than our current options, right? Younger, more athletic than our current options, like an Eriksson or a Casemiro who play in those deeper roles. And even Amrabat, he's much more mobile than Amrabat, who I do like. But I think Fofana is a more mobile, deep lying midfielder. You feel me? So a lot of interesting things. We'll just have to wait and see what comes of it. And guys, we have a few people in the building. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to show your boys some love. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure to share this live stream with your friends. We have a lot to discuss. You feel me? We have a lot of different topics to discuss. Let me stop the screen real quick. I'm going to pull up another tweet real quick that I saw earlier today. I'll pull that up real quickly. Got a bunch of things we want to discuss from a midfield perspective. Let's pull up this one really quickly. All right. Here we go. I got to get closer screens, man. My screens are too far away. The Ugarte one, Manchester United have already made several verbal offers for Manuel Ugarte. This is from Florian Plettenberg. He's been dropping a lot of overseas news, and he's pretty reliable. I know there's, I think the report said that we had agreed personal terms, but we never agreed anything with PSG specifically on a fee. Obviously, they're asking for 70 million euros, which I think is crazy. What do y'all think about the Ugarte price? Do you think that's a good price? Do you think that is a good deal to make? You feel me? I'm let me know. Let me know. Am I tripping? I personally wouldn't do it. I personally would not do it, but I think there's a lot of people in the fan base who are big fans of Ugarte, you feel me? And maybe the club, I actually, you know what? Let me not even say that. I don't think the club would ever bite on 70 million euros. Like they've shown early that they're not going to let themselves get bullied into deals, which is why we have so many different options on the table as it currently stands. You feel me? So that's good. That's a good thing. You feel me? That's a good thing that they're not getting bullied by, they're not getting bullied by any, competitors. Right. That's what we want to see. We want to see a club that's actually, making an effort to be cautious in the market, be smart in the market, not actually just let people bully them. Like we used to get bullied in the market, like absolutely bullied. You know what I'm saying? Like absolutely bullied in the market. I'm so glad that like it looks like we're turning a corner. It looks like we're turning a corner in that front. You know what I'm saying? So long may it continue. Long may it continue. The next thing I want to talk about is Sophie and Amrabat. I'm going to pull up a tweet here real quick. Just give me a second. I'm going to find that tweet really quickly. But apparently Sophie and Amrabat, he wants to return to the club. He wants to get back. He wants to get back to, playing for the club, all that good stuff. So I want to keep him. You feel me? I'm going to pull up the tweet real quick. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the tweet for us. But yeah, what do y'all think about the Amrabat news? Obviously, we didn't trigger his clause or whatever it was, or his buy option, I should say. And we've decided to negotiate as opposed to just, paying that money. But apparently there's interest from other clubs. So we have to be smart about it. You feel me? People saying Amrabat will be our last resort. I don't think so. I think he's better than a last resort. Shout out to Dino. What's up, bro? Much love to you. Appreciate you jumping into the live stream, guys. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, show some love for your boy. We're gonna be streaming pretty much every day this week. We're gonna be doing some basketball stuff this week. We're gonna be doing some watch along stuff this week. Getting back in a rhythm of making live stream content. I do want to still make pre-recorded content. Don't get it twisted, but I think what I want to do with pre-recorded content is make like video essays as opposed to like, you feel me, like transfer news. I think the transfer news stuff, making it a live stream, all that good stuff. Where's Elite Pundit? Yeah, he's pulling up, bro. He's pulling up. He had to handle some shit real quick, but we've been DMing. He's gonna pull up, and he'll be right on. Don't worry. He is. I respect Brian a lot. Like, he's a very, very smart Man United mind. Like, that's the people I'm gonna bring onto the channel. You feel me? Like Elite Pundit, and others. You feel me? They're gonna be the one. Like, I'm not bringing anybody who I think doesn't have a good Manchester United or football brain or basketball, whatever the case may be. We're gonna be bringing you the most quality, like, voices on football Twitter or whatever the case may be. That's the goal. We're going to be doing a lot of different things for y'all who don't know. Like, we're moving into live stream content again after a long time of not doing it. But we're also going to be doing pre-recorded content. You feel me? The pre-recorded content is going to be more long form content. So hopefully, like, getting an editor, all that good stuff, and doing more long form content. So I love like the history, of football too. So I want to start talking about like the history of football, Man United history, all that good stuff, and making more long form content. But yeah, no, Elite Pundit is pulling up. I'm gonna hit him up again, make sure that he gets on the live stream, even if it's like 20 minutes or whatever the case may be. We're gonna go for like 45 minutes. We're gonna go for like 45 minutes on the transfer news stuff. You feel me? And if you want to, and we'll probably talk a little bit about non-Manchester United stuff too. I'm texting him right now. But yeah. Back to Sophie and Amrabat though. How do y'all feel about Amrabat? Like, do you want him to stay? Do you want him to go? Like I said, I personally would keep him. I think that he's a very good player who was mismanaged last season. You know what I'm saying? I think he was mismanaged last season. So I think that as soon as he got an opportunity to play in a more balanced side, he looked like the player that we've seen over, the 18 months prior, right? Where he was really quality, like for his country, for Fiorentina. He was statistically a monster on the eye. He looked really good. So yeah, no, I think keeping Sophie and Amrabat, as well as adding another midfielder, whichever one it is, whether it be Rabiot, whether it be Zubamendi, whether it be Fofana, Ugarte, like that's good. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good thing. You feel me? That makes us a much better outfit. That makes us a much better side. Absolutely. But what do y'all think about that? Next thing I want to talk about, apparently the price tag for Fofana is not as bad as originally thought. And let's see, actually, before we even go there, let me read Dino's comment. I don't know. He showed his quality towards the end of the season, but I think another loan and maybe Rabiot will be fine. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do another loan for him. I think they want to capitalize on some form of money, because I think this is the most expensive he'll ever be again, right? He's not a young player. I think he's like 29, 30. You feel me? So they want to get as much money as they can for him. I don't think people are going to spend upwards of 30 or 40 million for Amrabat at his age. So I doubt that they do a loan, but yeah, I think Rabiot would be a good signing for us. I think there's a lot of good midfield options. I really do. I don't think we can go too wrong with wherever we go. I'd be kind of happy wherever we go, because it would be an upgrade on the midfield. You feel me? But we just have to see. we just have to see how it pans out. You feel me? We just have to see how it pans out. But next thing on the list here, yeah, I said Fofana. Let me pull up the Fofana tweet really quickly. I'm gonna start adding these tweets. I'm gonna start adding these tweets like in a little row, so I don't have to go back and find what I saw originally. But we'll see. I'm gonna find it real quick. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Present, share. There we go. Boom. So, yep. Justin, Manchester United have joined the race to sign Yusuf Fofana. Oh, I see a comment here. Shout out Stretford Gamer. Big up Temi. Much love, bro. Bro, besides Fofana, why are we not solidifying a deal for Kadioglu? Why are we in for Mazraoui? It is a disgrace, man. Oh, yeah, funny enough, I talked about this yesterday. Yeah, the Mazraoui links are interesting, right? They're really interesting. I am very like indifferent towards Mazraoui. He would definitely not be my first choice right back signing. I definitely prefer like a Kadioglu because he can play both right back and left back. I think his season at Bayern Munich last season was below average, and I'm probably being a bit kind, right? Like Konrad Leimer took his place. Josh Kimmich, like he wasn't getting consistent game time whatsoever in that side. And I don't even think Bayern Munich have, like Josh Kimmich is really a midfielder. That's where he wants to play. And Leimer is really a midfielder. So like the two people that were displacing him aren't even like full-fledged right backs. So I think the links are there because of the Ajax ties. I think because of the price, right? I think it's going to be a good price if we do get him. He's not an expensive player. But yeah, I personally would go for a Kadioglu only because of mind you, he scored a good goal today. Like I don't know if you guys saw that, right? I don't know if you guys saw that he played a Champions League qualifier for Fenerbahce. He came off the bench and he scored a goal. Like he's a good player. He is a very good player. So I feel you on this one, bro. Again, I wouldn't be mad at the Mazraoui thing because again, I don't even think he'd start. I really don't. I think he'd just be a rotational center back. Kadioglu, I think he'd start in the interim. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's definitely a beast, bro. I 100% agree. Like he is a beast. He's a good player. He's very technically gifted. He has all the things you want in like a fullback. But we'll see. I mean, the window, we still have time. I don't think we're gonna get Kadioglu because I really haven't seen any links. Right, there hasn't been any form of links to Kadioglu so far. I think what's going to happen is we need to sell before we buy a right back. If I'm guessing, you know what I'm saying. I think they'd sell AWB before they got a right back. You know what I'm saying. I think that's what the plan would be. And thank you for that next comment, because that was what I was going to segue into next. I was going to segue into Mr. Chalobah. Let me pull it up right here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so Manchester United hold a genuine interest in Chelsea center back Trevor Chalobah. The defender has been left out of Chelsea's preseason tour and is likely to leave the London club, who want $25 million for him. To be honest, bro, I don't think it's that bad of a move. I really don't. Like, I think he would be happy to play like a tertiary role. You feel me? I think he'd be kind of okay with filling in for a Euro, right? Filling in for a whoever the case may be who comes in at center back. I think that it's a good move. I think he would not be my first option. Absolutely. I'd rather get a De Ligt I'd rather get a Branthwaite, you feel me? But we'll just have to wait and see. Hold up. Let me real quick, let me invite our esteemed guest to the panel. So you guys probably know him from Twitter as well as TikTok. My brother is well versed in football as well as style, fashion, and men's aesthetics. You feel me? So make sure to show him some love as I introduce my guy, the elite pundit, aka Brian. What's good, my brother?
Hey man, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. You're a little low. You're a little low. I don't know if it's me or
Let
you,
me
but
just turn that up a little bit. Is that better?
yeah, yeah. No, that's good, bro. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. You started up doing your live streams, or is this something that you've
Yeah,
been doing before?
yeah. I'm starting. So I used to do live streams before, like like years ago. And I thought to myself, I'm like, for transfer news and stuff, I was making pre-recorded content all year. I was like, let me switch up to live streams for like the just daily news stuff. And
Yeah.
then I think for like pre-recorded stuff, I'll make more like long form content. Like I'm really into the video essays of the world. Like I just love video essays. So I think I'm gonna start making like more long form pre-recorded content and see where that goes. So
Gotcha.
yeah, bro. I can't
Well, thank
complain.
you. I
Yeah, of
appreciate it,
course.
man. Like, thank you for bringing me on. Because I know we've done the shows with Saeed for a while now,
Yeah.
and I think for the most part we tend to agree on some things.
Hmm.
So I saw there that you were talking about Chalaba as a
Yeah. I'll pull it back
potential
up real quick.
option.
Yeah, so we'll go back and talk about a few things. I definitely want your opinion on a bunch of different topics. We'll keep it running now that we got you. But we'll start here. Obviously, like we said, Man United hold a genuine interest in Chalobah. The defender has been left out of Chelsea's preseason tour. I think Chelsea have like 46 players in their first team right now.
Jesus.
I think I saw that. Is that a lie or was that something that was made
They
up?
have way too many players.
Yeah,
Like
it's
honestly
crazy.
speaking, it's crazy that a player of Chalaba's quality is being left
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of underrated by Chelsea, to be honest with you. I think the only
Yeah.
reason why they're trying to sell him is because of PSR, and
Hmm.
that's unfortunate for to develop a in terms of English centre backs. He plays for England, right? English centre
Hmm.
back. To
Hmm.
develop a center back like that and just discard him is I don't know. I don't doesn't sit right with me, to be
Yeah,
honest. It's not like
they
as if
did it
he's a
to
bad player.
Gahey too. They did the same thing to Gahey, right? Like
So
Chelsea have had a history of letting go of their top
Tomori as
Tamori,
well.
even Mount. They should have never let go of Mount. That's just they should have never let go of
Mm.
Mason Mount. It just didn't
I
make
mean,
any
for
sense.
60 million, I probably would have sold him too,
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. The 60 million is like you can't say no to that, but
yeah,
I mean he is one of their. But I agree with you, bro. I think Trevor Chalobah is mad underrated. Let's look at this comment real quick. Every time we are going in for Chelsea rejects like Chalobah. This guy's not one at the Blues house, not United level. I'll be shocked if Ineos stoop this low for the Walmart. Amadou Onana. That is hilarious, bro. I respectfully disagree, bro. I think that Trevor Chalobah is a good player.
yeah,
I think that he's just been a victim of a new ownership, a new regime that is just kind of run wild. Honestly, like he doesn't really let Chelsea down. Like every time I watch him play, he doesn't let Chelsea down. And again, I said this earlier. I think he would be happy to play a tertiary role. You know what I'm saying? I think he'd
hmm
be okay with being a squad player, right? He wouldn't
yeah.
upset the Alpacar, all those different things.
I think if we're being honest, right? Because I remember when Manchester United were linked to Akanji, and I wanted Akanji for 12 million or 60 million pounds at the time. And United fans were like, no, he's rubbish, he's terrible, he's just been playing in the Bundesliga, he's not that good. And listen, Delete is a player I like, but the fact is, Bayern are charging 50 million euros for him. For a player that has to rotate, we might have to get to a point where we're going to start thinking about someone else because
Hmm.
he's going to be on high wages, he's going to be a rotational option. If we're really going to go into it and say, hey, Euro is our starting center back. We're already paying him over $100,000, £100,000.
Hmm.
So Chalobah might become an option for us, especially if we can knock down that price to even like 20 million or even 15 million because they haven't registered him. They're not going to play him in the Premier League.
Right.
So if we can really knock down that price even lower, man, I don't see the issue. He can play right back as well. He can play center back, and I heard he can also play DM. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Manchester United are in a position where we cannot just like totally rubbish these low cost options for us right now,
Yeah.
especially since they are better than what we have. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm being
Mm-hmm.
being serious. He's better than Lindelof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Maguire. People, I know our fan base tends to really rate Maguire, but he's slower. He's not as physical, so he's a better profile fit as well. And you're telling
Mm.
me he's gonna be on less than 100k, 50 million pounds? I'm not
Yeah.
too mad at it.
Yeah, so let me read this this chat. Temi, we want players who will compete. Basically, having competition in center back Chalaba is just going to be chilling. Yeah, I think you're underrating his mentality, bro. Like this guy is. I don't know if you know about his history, but like this guy is like he's a very disciplined human being. Like he's a very disciplined human being. He's very humble. Like works very hard. I don't think he's going to be chilling, bro. I think he's going to give. He's not a, especially when he's not, it's not like he's on 250K or something and he's just, he's just eating good. I mean, obviously he's eating better than 99% of the world, but it's not that situation. Again, mind you, this is a low cost deal. This is not somebody we say, oh, this is our future. This is somebody to add to the squad. You feel me? This is somebody to add to the squad. He improves the squad, right? I think he can play in Europa League games and not let us down. Can play in cup games, not let us down. You know what I'm saying? I think the issue with Chalaba is we really haven't seen him a lot over the past year and a half
Yeah,
because of Chelsea's incompetence.
yeah.
But yeah, he's a good player, man. I think he's a good player.
And people are still sore for Mason Mounts being what 60 million pounds, I
Right,
think. So
right.
people are kind of put off buying Chelsea signings.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's what it is. We have a lot to do with this
Yeah.
Manchester United team, and some of it has to be lower cost options. Like I saw, we've been linked to Fofana today, and I don't know if we'll be able to get that deal done. But he's a lower cost option than Ugarte that PSG are overpricing. So with Chalaba, for me, is someone I know Manchester United have on their list,
Right.
and every time I've watched him, I haven't come across and looked at him and said, "This guy is not. This guy's bad." I haven't looked at him and said, "This guy's
Yeah,
bad."
yeah,
So
yeah. He's a
he's a
good
good
player, man.
defender.
He's a
He's a
good
good
defender.
defender.
He's versatile. Like I think that's another thing. Like we want to buy squad players who can play in multiple positions, right? You want a guy who can play at right back if need be, can play in a back three, can play in a back four, right? And
Yeah,
he's athletic enough. He's I don't think he's very good on the ball. I think he's okay at best, right? I've never seen him as like a ball playing center back, but I don't think he's a liability, right?
no.
I don't think he's a liability. So that is where,
I think aerially is where people Chelsea say he's weak.
mm,
Chelsea fans, from what I've seen, that he's not as great in the air.
yeah.
Listen, I would love the lit. The lit would be like a great option because I know he's used to Ten Hag's system, and I know he's going to be a leader in the dressing room, and I hope we get that deal done. I don't know if that means completely we're done with Brightwaite because I feel like as if United hierarchy really want him.
Mm,
So I really don't know what we're going to do in terms of centre backs because we need, honestly, outside of Euro, we need two more.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
33 million.
100%.
Hmm,
I mean,
that's
if
not.
so,
It's not that
yeah,
far.
no, it's not that far off, man. I really don't think it's that far. We brought in a top level 18-year-old center back to me. We want best in class, but he's not good in the air. Come on, man. Yeah, again, so I think that I I don't want to use a reference that maybe you won't understand, but I think that what good clubs do is you find, in my opinion, he's worth more than 15 million, 20 million pounds. Like I think he's worth more than that. So get a player who you can buy and he's an asset, right? You can maybe sell him
Yeah.
on for more money if he does well, right? This is all about like top clubs. They make investments that they feel like they can get a return on in the future. Like I think that's a player like Chalaba, right? And you're right, Euro is a top level center back, right, for his age group, probably the best in his age group. I think Xerxes a very good signing, right? And again, Chalaba's played in a lot of big games. He's not not some spring chicken. He's played in a lot of big games. Like he has
Premier League
experience,
experience as
Premier League
well.
experience, Champions League
Yeah,
experience. Like he's played. Again, I think it's not a sexy signing, right? I
he's
think
not.
that's the real. I think a lot of our fans, right? I think if it's not a shiny name like Zubamendi's hot right now,
Mm.
right? Or Richard Rios is hot right now. Like, and we're gonna talk about them in a second. Those are the sexy names. Those are the names where all the comps, all the comps are just they're all over football Twitter, all over YouTube. You feel me? So that's what fans like. That's what they want, which I respect. But I think there is a lane for having, just the grafting squad player, right? I think all good clubs have those, right? All good clubs have kind of
Yeah.
that type of
It's
profile,
like
right?
a 6, 7 out of 10 most match days that you're not
Exactly.
gonna really get
Yeah.
the super Rudiger, Sergio Ramos, really high level
Mhm.
center back, but you're gonna get someone that's really competent most
Yeah.
of the time.
No,
So I know
absolutely.
you're right. It's not sexy. It's not something that most fans would think of if they were looking for a center back. But I don't know, man. I just have this feeling that Manchester United still want to get Braithwaite. I
Mm.
don't know why, but it just feels like that, especially since they bought they knew what Braithwaite was before they went into the deal for Euro. Euro
Mm.
was our number one center back target, right? Because we've been linked to him from January.
Yeah.
So now I think they wanted a backup center back to Euro or a
Right.
rotational option at least, which I think was going to be Todibo.
Mm.
But the issue with Todibo happened and we can't sign him. So we're looking at another option. I still think left center back is the priority. A lot of people are going to be like, well, we have Martinez, but listen, Martinez's injury played a huge part into why our season was the way it was last year.
Yeah, big time.
We need a left center back option. We not just any left center back option, because when you think about it, we had Varane who was superb in the air. He was really good, so he dovetailed very well with Martinez, and he was a great box defender too. So I think they're trying to replace those traits with Braithwaite. Euro was an option I think that we couldn't just miss out on, but I think long term we wanted Braithwaite in that defense who can play both sides. So I feel Manchester United will go back in for Braithwaite
Mm.
before they commit fully to going for Delete, because
Okay.
LCB the left center back is the top priority for us. We don't
Mhm.
have any other person that can play that position outside of Martinez. So we'll see
Mm.
what happens.
Yeah, I don't. I'm torn on that one, to be honest with you, because I just don't see Everton dropping their price too drastically. I think they're gonna bet on Braithwaite having another good season before they sell him for too low. That's kind of my gut feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just see Everton being stubborn about it, right?
Yeah.
Not wanting to lose whatever market value he has, and I think they're just going to bet on the fact that he'll have a good season and that he'll retain that value because he still is young. What is he? 22.
22 or so, yeah.
Yeah. So he won't if he has another good season, the price might go up, right? So I think they're willing to bet on that as opposed to selling him for 40. Again, they do have some financial challenges, which is a big part in this, right?
Yeah.
So I that is something we need to be aware of. But your
Do you know the
most
one thing I
prized
will
asset,
say?
yeah,
I will say that when I saw Euro play, like really like play, because there's something weird. I don't know if this has happened to you before. When you watch a player play for another club and then you sign that player, there's a different level of analysis and
yeah,
like the
absolutely,
way you watch them is different. You're a
of
lot
course,
more critical.
of
And
course.
for me, I was very impressed by Euro. And it really made me think like long term, a Euro Braithwaite partnership might be like that's really good. I love Martinez. I
Hmm.
love Martinez. Before people say, "Wait, we have Martinez," but understand that I've been watching the Premier League for over 20 years, and physical center backs just when you can have that imposing physical nature. Not that Martinez doesn't commit physically, but like you can get at him. and this is me
Mm-hmm.
trying not to be biased as a Manchester United fan.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get at Martinez, right?
Oh, absolutely. I remember the game against Brentford. Remember the goal that the second goal they scored,
Yeah.
or there was something that Ivan Toney just did. I remember Ivan Toney did him so dirty, just bullied him. I just remember it so clear as day. And then Ivan Toney slipped the ball in. I can't remember who scored the goal, but that was like a moment for me, like wow, like that was a moment for me, like from a Martinez perspective, where I just had to think like, you know,
Is he a long-term left
yeah.
center back
Yeah,
option?
it was just
Like,
it was just one of those moments. You have one of those moments with certain players and it kind of just sticks with you, like, and that was a moment for me because obviously Martinez was almost flawless the season before. Obviously
yeah.
dealt with injuries. I think he was rushed back. So I don't want to stick on it too, but you're right. I do like the prospect of a Branthwaite because having 2 6 foot plus center backs, like Euro is a
Oof.
unit. Euro is a unit. He's like, what is he, 6'3", 6'4",
He's
whatever. And he just,
6'3",
yeah, like
fast,
he just looked
pacey.
he just looked like a giant on the pitch, right? And add
Yeah.
Branthwaite to that. What is he, 6'2" or whatever the case may be? Like that's good. That's something you can work. That's something you can work with, right?
Yeah,
So
that's in terms of modern center backs. That's like the ultimate, like, combination wise. I know for me, it's like it's not like as if I rate. It's partnerships. When you think about it, when we had Rio before Vidic came, like Rio was a top center back, no doubt. But
mhm,
that partnership with Vidic just took it to the next level for both
mhm,
of them. That's how you rate center backs. So Vidic on his own, would he be a bit tough defender? Of course. But that partnership with Rio Ferdinand was what took it to the next level. So for
right,
me, it's like I'm looking at Euro and I'm like, we have something here. Now, what would be the best profile to pair him with? Someone that's a great box defender, equally as pacey, equally as tall. No, like if you're a striker and you're like, okay, I'm going to peel off this defender so I can dominate them aerially. You're not going to get that with either of them. So you don't
mhm,
have to overcompensate each way. So I guess we'll have to see. I know I don't have like the highest. I think would be overpaying, right? If we were to get Brightweight this season. So for
mhm,
me, it would be someone I revisit at the end of the window. let's
yeah,
get let's get the midfielders in, let's get a fullback in,
yeah,
and then end of the window, we'll see what Everton have to say if we beat something like 60 million plus five.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, this guy says, I really don't rate Branthwaite. Can we scout players from South America or Italy to be a backup for Martinez? I
uh,
don't I don't know if the country necessarily matters more so
yeah.
than just the profile of the player, right? You can be from Albania for all I care. If you're good enough, you're good enough. But
Some
yeah, no,
things
I
don't just don't work for Manchester United though. I'm sorry
yeah.
to say this. Some types of players just don't work for Manchester United because we've had really terrible luck with Brazilians, for instance.
Mm, yeah.
Brazilians don't typically
Bebe.
work. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know what it is. But whenever we sign a Brazilian, it just doesn't hit like it should.
Hmm.
South American market is great, but you are basically taking a gamble. I don't think Manchester United are in a position where they can take gambles right now.
Mm,
Especially when we don't have a first 11 established. When
yeah.
you have like look at Arsenal. They signed they signed some Brazilians, right, from the South American market. No, they didn't. Not all of them worked out.
Right.
Like it's exciting when you buy these young prospects, but I look at Chelsea and I'm like, guys, all these young players they're signing, maybe 20% of them work out. Maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. I definitely think that Branthwaite is he's a good player. Again, I don't think he's a 70. I don't think he's worth 70 million
No,
pounds.
yeah,
I really don't. But I think he would be again a value add to the squad. Young, bright profile. I think hard worker, good on the ball, like all those things that you want, right? So yeah, him and Euro, that seems like it will work. And I think Euro's personality versus Branthwaite's personality. I think Branthwaite has a bit more of that like
cool,
that bit more,
calm.
yeah, yeah, and Euro has that energy too. So it's I think you're right. It would from on paper it could be a very powerful partnership. But we'll see what Everton does because this report of the cash challenges it is real, but I just can't see them letting go of their best asset for cheap.
You know what? To me, the way they are talking, right, is the way like Newcastle were talking when we came for Ashworth, where they
Mhm.
were very braggadocious. We're like, yeah, yeah, we're not gonna drop our fee, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like as if they almost like the way everything keep on leaking to the press. Oh, they're surprised we bought Euro, but we didn't buy Brian Waite for this amount, this specific fee. Oh, this. Oh, look at Fofana's fee. Look at Maguire's fee. We want this amount of money. You guys don't sound like someone that does that. You guys don't want to sell this guy. You guys want to sell him, but for a good fee, which is fine. But I think leave it to like the last couple weeks of the window, put real pressure on them, and see what happens.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So we have other things we need to
We'll
fix
see if
first.
they cave. We'll see if they cave. Right. Actually, I want to pull up another. Let's talk about the midfielders real quick.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discussions around Ugarte, a lot of discussions around Fofana, Zubimendi. Let's start with Ugarte though. Let's start there. I'm gonna pull up something really quickly. Let me pull it up really quickly. Oops, I keep losing these tweets. It's really bad. 1 second.
I can't believe PSG are asking for. I don't know if that's true or not because what's his name?
I believe it.
What's the German journalist? Is he Plettenberg can be a little bit iffy when it comes to valuations sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but I seriously doubt they're asking for 70 million euros.
I don't know. Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. I personally don't even think he's worth 50.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, so yeah, it's what did they
but
get
you
for
like
him last
year? Ugarte though. You like Ugarte.
I am indifferent about Ugarte. Like I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a bad player. I think that the technical floor isn't high enough. Right. Like people keep on saying, oh, well, Enrique wasn't his cup of tea. That's why he didn't play. Why? But why though? Why wasn't he his cup of tea? Like ask yourself that question. Right. Vitinha is a very tiny person, like a very tiny human being. But because he's good enough on the ball, Enrique said, I don't care. I will play you as my deepest midfielder, right? And take the risk of transition turnovers and whatever, because you're just good. You're just way better on the ball than this player. Right. And I want to play in my head. I want us to play in a way that we're comfortable enough on the ball. Obviously, you can pair him with a Menu. You can pair him with, in the future, maybe a Rabiot, whatever the case may be. But why not just have two players? You can have a player who's aggressive and good on the ball. Like, you know what I mean? So that's just me personally.
I don't know. I feel like it's the profile we're trying to find is really hard. Because when you consider what we need in midfield, Kobe Mainu is, for me, does his best work on the left-hand side, closer to the opposition's penalty box. That's when Kobe is at his best. Because even for England, I think they played him in the wrong position, if I'm being totally honest with you. Left-hand side, look at the goals he scored against Liverpool. Look at the goals he scored against Wolves, where he dribbled past how many people, slapped it bottom corner. That is a repeatable action.
Right.
And great teams, what makes great teams good is that they constantly have players that can perform repeatable actions to a high level. Ian Robben, Ribery, when they were dominating in the Champions League back in the day. So, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, these players had things that they constantly did within matches that were hard to stop. So for me, I would love to see Kobe Mainu played in that position. The problem Manchester United have, and this is where you have to get ruthless, and I don't think we're going to be ruthless, is Bruno Fernandes wants to play in those zones. Can it work between the two? Can Bruno be more disciplined to play maybe closer to Ahmad on the right-hand side? That would be the best use of this team. Now, if you played those two, left-hand side Kobe, right-hand side Mainu, who is the midfielder that's going to sit? Depending on your center-back makeup, you can have a Zubimendi, right? You can have a Zubimendi play there, but you're going to need like elite defending center-backs. plus at least one fullback that does maybe the role of sitting to kind of protect the defense as well. So it can be done. You don't have to have a destroyer, but it really depends on the makeup of the team. So I think that's where Manchester United are a little bit stuck, because the center back situations is not solved yet. Because when you think about it, we have Martinez, who's this elite ball progressing center back. Okay, so not that you can have, you want all your players to be great at progressing the ball, but if you have Martinez, then you have a Zubimendi. Martinez is not as great as, not as he's the bad defender. He's a very good defender, but it's like, I've seen Martinez get bypassed in open spaces as well, or down channels. So it's like
Martinez doesn't have pace. Like that's what like people is. Martinez is a very strange player. He's when you think about it, he's a very strange player. Like doesn't have, he lacks pace. He's not particularly strong. Like he's
just very tenacious.
He's very tenacious, and he anticipates relatively well, and he's an elite ball playing center back. Like he's just a very weird player. Very weird player.
Yeah. Which is strange to me, because if you think about it, Martinez would probably be fantastic as a left back that comes on the inside. I know Ten Hag says he doesn't want to play him in that position and all that stuff, which is, for me, is weird. You've played Amrabat left back. You've played Lindelof left back, but you would not play Martinez left back. These are the kind of strange things that I see Ten Hag do that I'm like, that makes zero sense. So I don't know. Like man, that midfield is a pain in the butt to solve. I really don't know what's the best way to go. I like Ugarte, so I don't know.
Let's actually, guys, we have like 20 people watching. So for those who are watching, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow Brian on all the socials. They're in the description below the chat. So just hit the chat or close the chat real quick. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow Brian on all his socials. You feel me? And show some love. Who do you think will work best in each setup? A destroyer in the form of Ugarte or a Zubimendi type profile? Me personally, I think a Zubimendi. If you go back and look at his best spell at Ajax, it was Frankie de Jong, right? It was Shona, right? He didn't really have destroyers in his team, like
until Alvarez.
Until Alvarez came in, right? And but that was very short lived too. I think that was a season. It was
It was one season. And funny enough, whenever his team was in trouble, he always subbed Alvarez and played Klaassen deep midfielder.
Yeah, because so the Casemiro thing was a desperate buy on his part. Right, that's never been the profile of player he wants. I think Ugarte is closer to a Casemiro than he is So I think the way he wants to play, he needs people who are technically secure enough. If he wants to play this, 3-1-6, whatever, profile or build up a formation, right? Yeah. So in my opinion, it would be Zubimendi. It would be a like a Viper from Brighton, those type of players. Right. So this guy says Martinez can't defend the channels. We saw it with Salah in the 7-0 loss. I hear that. I think that's an anomaly, right? I do think I never look at blowouts and like assess them, because they're just so, a shock to the system. It's not. I'm more so look at the 2-1s, the one the more realistic score lines to assess a player, but obviously he was very bad that day in the channels. You're 100% right. But yeah, another I want to talk about Fofana too. Let me pull that up. What do you think about Fofana, by the way?
I haven't watched him as much as Ugarte and as much as researched him as much as Zubimendi. From what I've watched, he's very much a box-to-box midfielder. Ball carrying. I'm trying to remember. He kind of reminds me of what's his name? That Tottenham guy, the French midfielder that they bought at the time that didn't work out.
I know you're talking about too. Damn. Name just eluded me.
Yeah, that's let me see. Remember his name here.
What do you got, chat? What do you guys saying on uh
Yeah, Ndombele.
Oh yeah, I don't personally see him as that type of profile. Ndombele
What do
is
you see
much
him?
Yeah, I think Ndombele is much more technical, much more, he's like a 10, right? Ndombele
Mm,
really is kind of more of a creative player. I see Fofana more as an 8/6. I think he can play as a 6 in a double pivot, right? I think if he came into our team, he'd be playing as the deepest midfielder, right? I don't think he would overtake Manu as an 8, right?
yeah.
Or Bruno as an 8, or we would leverage him the way we probably leveraged Amrabat last season. You feel me? Um, he's athletic enough. He's good enough on the ball. I think he's not a I think again he's French, so people are automatically just gonna rate him, right?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
he won't have it, but I don't think he's not a sexy signing. I don't see him as a player who's gonna,
It's
uh, you know,
rotational. I wouldn't mind
yeah,
having a Fofana
exactly.
on the bench, but
He's a good player though. He's a good player.
yeah.
Again, I haven't watched. I watched it when I don't watch the French league a ton. I watch PSG, right, and I'll just watch the games that PSG play, and that's kind of how I get my French league
Yeah.
opinions, right? Um, and he's good. He's a good player. You feel me? I think he's a good player. I think that for the right price, I think the price I saw was 35 million euros,
Something
which
like
isn't
that. Yeah.
bad. Yeah, that's not bad. He is more of a box. Yeah, that's what I said. I said he's
He's
an
a
eight.
box to box. He's a box to
Yeah,
box
eight
player. Yeah.
8/6. Yep, 100%. Thoughts on Cherokee? I think Cherokee is a very good player, technical player, but I personally don't think he's a top 6 player. That's just my opinion, though. What do you
Hmm.
think?
No, I don't mind the signing. I'm just makes me quite because look at the profiles. There's Ugarte, there's Fofana, there's Zubamendi.
Mm,
Those really are the three main midfielders we're looking at. So it's like for
yeah,
me, what's the profile we're looking at here? Because they're
yeah,
all different.
right,
Um, because that number 6 position is a huge gaping hole in the squad right now. Because Casemiro just isn't it.
right.
Ugarte makes sense if you're going for a Casemiro replacement. If you're going for a different profile, that maybe might suit Ten Hag more. Zubimendi, but he's not as great as ball carrying. He can, dribble his way out of tight situations, but he's not really going to carry the ball past that. He's gonna pass it on.
Hmm.
We have Menu in the team who can carry. So would Zubimendi and Menu work better? I think they might be on the same wavelength a bit better,
Yeah,
and that would mean our midfield is less of a. It's gonna be more ball, possessive for sure with a Zubimendi.
100%,
Can
100%.
we convince Zubimendi to leave what he has right now in Spain, um, come to Manchester United and starting a new project? I think we can. I just don't mind the Man United I know of old did not go after Zubimendi's. So for me, it's hard for me to get excited for Zubimendi. Now this is a new Manchester United with new ownership. Would Manchester City, because of Barada, go for a Zubimendi, for instance, to replace a Rodri? I could
Hmm.
see that happening. So for me, going for Zubimendi would be a huge change to what Manchester United look for in midfield, and that
Hmm.
would mean the system will be different.
Which is great.
But
Which is what I want.
which is great, but it means what we do in defense has to be different.
Yeah,
It has to
100%.
be different.
Which is why I think we're being so aggressive in those particular the 6 position and adding another center back, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at these comments real quick. We haven't been linked, but I watch. A shout out to Andrew on Nalimidim. We haven't been linked, but I watch La Liga a lot, and Pepelu and Johnny Cardoso is the closest you'll get to Rodri. I think is what you were trying to say. Yeah. Good players. I think Johnny Cardoso is actually a good player. Um, do you think the Rios links are serious? I
No,
don't think so. I
I
have
don't think
been
so.
torn on that. Like we haven't had like a real legit journal, come out and actually talk about the Rios links. It's been a lot of, I would say, B tier journalists to be respectful. They're not we haven't seen an Ornstein link. We haven't seen, you know, uh anything concrete.
Fabricio, no one has really said
Fabrizio,
anything.
yeah. So I don't think the links are serious. Again, The news was the 75 million. Let me actually pull up that. Let me pull up that tweet real quick.
I haven't really watched Rios much, to be honest, so I don't really know
Yeah, he
much
looked.
about him.
I'm gonna be real, bro. He looked outstanding in the Copa America. Like he looked ridiculous. Like he was. He was not. He was definitely the best midfielder in the tournament.
Really? What position is
Yeah.
he? A 6?
Yeah, he plays as the deepest midfielder. He kind of plays as a 6. He's ridiculous, bro. He's ridiculous.
I need to look at his stats.
Yeah.
I need to.
He's a really good player. I'm gonna be real. I'm trying to find the.
He plays in South America.
Yeah, he plays in South America. I think he could transition well. There's those one of those, just a flary player. You know what I mean?
He's 6'1", so he's not short.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the 75 million euro release thing I saw earlier today. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, good player. Let's see this. Shout out to Vatika Haisiu. Oh, here we go. I found it. There we go. This is ridiculous.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me because Palmeiras will not consider any. That not. I mean, if I'm being honest, that's BS.
Of course it's BS. I think it's just. I think they're just raising. They're just raising the price from 17 mil to maybe like 30. Right. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Palmeiras, like, listen, I know they developed some Brazilian talents, but they're not gonna ask for 75 million euros.
Yeah.
Okay, that's ridiculous. This is not Neymar. Like, even for Neymar in Brazil, Santos did not sell for 75 million euros. So calm down.
Right.
Like, this is a DM. The most you probably be worth is maybe 40 million pounds.
Most, and that's the absolute most.
That's with a premium.
Yeah, what formation will Ten Hag play this season? I think that will determine what midfielder United will go for. My guess is he will play a 4-2-3-1 again, with Bruno as his 10, and then Mainu as one of the pivot players, and name your 6. One of these 6s we get in the market. I think that's what he'll do. Front 3.
I think if you get Braithwaite, his Zubimendi profile makes more sense.
Yeah.
I like Delete, but is he gonna start? Right, that's the question. Is he gonna play left side? He can play left side, but Ten Hag has this obsession with left-footed, left-sided defenders.
Yeah. I'm not too worried. I'm not too fussed about I think he's still gonna get a ton of games if he comes into the side, and that's what I think he knows that too. It's like from what I saw from Euro in that preseason, we have to be careful because it is preseason, but like. They're going to be competing for that spot, which is great. I think that having a De Ligt in there, he's going to get a ton of game time. Like, I think we have so many now in football. You have so many especially when you're a top club. You have so many things you're competing for, so many games to be played.
I would love De Ligt. Love De Ligt. His leadership, his leadership profile is something that. I think will dovetail really well with Manchester United fans and Manchester United in general. And having that in the dressing room, coupled with what we already have, would be a good mix. So I don't mind that. I don't know. The funny thing is that because we talked about this on Saeed's show, and I was like, let's wait next season. I think ever his fee for Braithwaite will drop, and maybe we could get him cheaper, which I think will happen.
Right.
I'm maybe getting a little bit greedy in the sense that I really think the Euro Braithwaite partnership would be one of the best in the league, just because of the way we would complement each other. I don't mind De Ligt. I think De Ligt and Euro will play well together. I think De Ligt and Martinez will play really well together. But it's like that echelon of center, that top partnership in the league, in my opinion, will go a long way to us finishing in top 4. That's what I'm looking at.
100%. Vatika says you can buy Zubimendi and a destroyer to play with Kobe, similar to how Real Madrid set up their midfield for years with Cass, Cruz, and Modric. Listen, I completely hear that. I would 1,000% do something like that. I really would. But the reality is, I know how much our club values Bruno Fernandes, and they're not going to drop him. They're like, it's not going to happen. Like, you have to understand that. Like,
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes is here to stay for another year, minimum. Like, that's Ten Hag's captain. He's valued highly by not only Ten Hag, but I think by the club. I think the
It
club
makes it
values.
really hard to build a midfield, though. It
Yeah,
makes it
it's so
really hard.
it's so, and people don't understand this. Like, I've been thinking about this, like, all these different midfield combinations. Bruno's going to be in the midfield, like, and in my opinion, he's taking up space in that midfield. Like, in my opinion, the only way you play Bruno Fernandes in midfield is if you play with four midfielders, right? Play like a diamond, and you have three people behind him protecting it, like, kind of protecting him. But we don't play that way, right? So, like, in a perfect world, maybe you with Bruno in the team, you play a 4-3-1-2. You play with two strikers as opposed to, right, maybe some traditional wide players, like kind of what like Madrid, right? Like Madrid, a lot of last season would play with two strikers, right?
Yeah.
They would play with Bellingham and Rodrigo, or Bellingham and Vinicius, right? Or Brahim and they just would do that, but they'd keep that base there. But I don't know if Ten Hag understands that. I really don't.
That's honestly is the problem. I think Ten Hag is sometimes it's not his fault. He didn't buy Bruno, and not like you see Bruno. To be clear, Bruno is not a bad player. He's a fantastic player. Sometimes
Fantastic is so strong.
he is he is a
No,
fantastic player, but
he's
the
not.
problem is his profile of player has been figured out. It has been figured out, and he doesn't have the qualities to navigate that. Because listen, his numbers when he came into the Premier League were ridiculous, okay, and he performed to a very high level, but teams figured out that what is it? Because they will analyze this is what tactical teams will do. What is it that Bruno Fernandes cannot do, and how do we make him do more of that?
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes cannot carry. He's not great under pressure. So what are we going to do? The minute he received the ball, pressure on his back. The minute he gets to the ball, pressure on his back. And if you're playing a possession-based football where you want your 10 to get into tight spaces and receive the ball, Bruno Fernandes is always going to have what? Pressure on his back. So it's going to make for... So he's only great. That's
Are you
pause.
are you hearing this though? Are you hearing right? Are you hearing this? Like,
Yeah.
he's not great under pressure, and he's not great at carrying the ball, and he's a number 10. Like, what are we talking about? Like, and this is my issue. And this is the thing, right? I think. Listen, I told myself this season I'm not going to talk about Bruno a lot. I really,
It's unavoidable, man.
it's. I'm going to do my best not to talk about Bruno Fernandes this season, because like it kind of became my shtick on Saeed's channel, and I kind of just did. I don't like that. Like, I don't want to be the Bruno guy.
The Bruno hater. Yeah.
Like, but the reality of it is like, I think that he frustrates me, because I think there's a world where he could actually be a fantastic player. Like, that's my thing. Like, I think that he doesn't understand his strengths and weaknesses, right? That's my biggest quarrel with him, is that if he kept it much more simple, right? Like, and just played within himself, and then let the moments of magic happen every so often, like when they're actually there, as opposed to forcing things. And, I would be so much more lenient with him in terms of my criticism. But he is his third main weakness is, and you talked about it, is lack of positional awareness.
Oof.
Drifting to the left-hand side when we already have an overload in that space, not maintaining his centrality, pressing beyond the striker when you don't need to press beyond the striker. Like, all of these things are things that, in my opinion, make him not a top 4 level player. And like, if you're trying to compete for a league title, he cannot be your talisman. And I'm convinced about that. He's 29 years old. I don't see him changing that now, right? So that's just my core with it, is like, I think we have 2 more seasons with him. I do. I think we have this season.
Not even 2. No, that's too much.
I think we have this season and next season, and I think that he's going to be, on to bigger and better things.
If I'm being honest, right, the way, like, it's hard for Man United fans to hear this because they think you're just hating. I love Bruno Fernandes. Like I really wanted him to come because it made sense when we had Ole and the way we were playing. Bruno Fernandes made a lot of sense. But since we're moving away from that, even if Ten Hag is not the manager, the profile of Bruno makes it hard for any manager to play a different style of football because Bruno's style so fits a counter-attacking team. So you cannot. It just doesn't go together. Bruno
Yeah.
Fernandes and possession-based football.
Yeah. And if you want to play him in a possession-based team, he has to be the false nine. Like that's
Yes.
what it has to be. Like the way we played the back end of the season, that's how we'd have to play. Like we'd have to drop a Hoyland or drop a Xerxes or play Xerxes at 10. Or like kind of how we did with well, kind of opposite though, but you know how we used to play Rashford as a striker and then
Yeah.
Weghorst as a 10. It kind of have to be that thing where we play Bruno as a false nine, right? And then Xerxes as a 10, right? Somebody who's more has a bit more positional sense, but even then that's a bit too attacking for me. But like, yeah, it's just we're too much accommodation, and his weaknesses are weaknesses you don't want from your 10. Like, I'm sorry, it's just. But anyway,
Again, is another
yeah,
strange profile of player that Manchester United have that makes it very hard to build a competent system. So for me, it's almost irrelevant what midfielder we go for because it's just not. It's just going to be a poor fitting shoe regardless. Like
right.
no matter what you do, that shoe is not your size, mate. Like you might be as nice as possible, it's just not going to fit, and that's the problem because even say let's say you bought a Declan Rice, right? Or even say let's say you bought a Rodri, right? And you paired him with Kobe Mainu. That looks good, but there are things that you're thinking about the best possible player. And the things that people don't, you're thinking about the best possible player we could get. But then you forget that Rodri is playing in a system that makes him look good. He's playing in a system in Spain that makes him look good. Manchester United system is constructed around Bruno Fernandes.
Facts.
That's the difference. So for people who are looking at the midfield and thinking, oh, we should get this guy, or are wondering why someone like you or even like tacticals on Twitter are like, oh, I don't like that profile or this or that, and everyone seems confused. The reason why all of you are confused is because you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Oh, absolutely.
And that square peg is that Bruno Fernandes has shaped our team.
Like
It's making it hard. Like, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I wish Ineos were brave enough to make a decision where they were like, you know what? Let's sell Bruno. But I feel like as if they don't want to rock the boat in their first transfer window.
Yeah.
So-
I think that the naked eye, we'll see. I think the naked eye fan loves a Bruno Fernandes, but the deeper you look, anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about? And I'll Brian, do you have like 20 more minutes for us, or
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. We'll go for like 20 more minutes. We have 20 people watching still. Guys, thank you so much for being active in the chat with us. And we'll keep on answering your questions. Drop some questions in the chat for us. We'll do last 20 minutes. We'll do a bit of Q&A just on different topics that you guys want to ask us, and we'll go from there. What do you guys think of Warden? I think he'll be amazing for us. Brian, what do you think about him?
I really like him. In terms of a combination of someone that is great at winning the ball and progressing it forward, he's much better in that sense than the Declan Rice. He covers the pitch really, really well. I think he's only going to get more expensive, if I'm being honest with you. Right now, he's probably going to cost about £80 million. And next season, it's going to cost about 100. I'm being totally honest with you. This is a player that I see their value going up.
Right.
So I like him. Like, if you told me the only midfielder we signed this season was Wharton, I'm completely fine with that.
Wow.
I'm cool with it.
Wow. No, yeah, I definitely rate him as a player. I'm gonna be real. I didn't watch a ton of Crystal Palace last season. That's probably one of the teams maybe I didn't keep my eye on as much as like Brighton, or like even I kind of liked watching Fulham play a lot last season.
Yeah.
But Crystal, again, from what I saw, very good player. I still think he has some developing to do in terms of just physically. But other than that, I think his technical ceiling is of the standard. I should say the technical floor is of the standard, right? And he can definitely get better. That English tax though is something that I think I'm a big believer that we shouldn't be getting bullied in the market anymore. Again, is he 100 million for any player? in my opinion. If you look at most 100 million pound signings, most of them don't work.
They're not worth
But
it.
let's be
Yep.
real. Most 90 million and above signings, 80 million above signings do not work. Like, I'm just gonna be real. Like, think about it. The Dembeles of the world, the
Jean
João Felix,
Felix,
Philip Coutinho. Who else am I missing? We've had some hits recently. We had Bellingham, who was a hit. Chouameni's been a
Declan
hit.
Rice maybe has been
Declan Rice has been good. He's been good. But again, 100 million is so much money for a guy who
wins the ball back.
He's a good player. Like, Declan Rice is just a good player. That's it. You know what I mean? He's not I don't think he's a world-class player. I think he's one of the better players in his position, but I don't think that he's a 100 million pound player. Jack Grealish.
He's not Roy Keane. He's not Roy Keane.
He's no Roy Keane. No way. Not even in the same stratosphere. Jack Grealish is 100 million. I think Jack Grealish is a top player. He's just the wrong club. Right.
Should have come to United, man.
To United. Oh my goodness, he should have. That would have been the perfect club for him. Manchester United, Jack Grealish. That would have been match made in heaven. Oh my goodness, it would have been perfect. But yeah, like we're just naming so many, and there's more that I'm missing too. But it's just 100 million pound signing.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I don't think he'll be 100 million this season. I think next season is when because I think Crystal Palace is going to get better. I just think they're going to get better. I think they're still making really smart signings. I think they've retained what they want to retain. I don't see them selling anyone else because the fees are just too high. And the thing with English players, when you buy a player from an English team, the money you pay up front is a lot larger. So you notice that's why a lot of clubs are not doing those transfers. That's why people are like, why did Manchester United go for Onana? And I'm like, you guys have no idea how much Villa probably paid up front for Onana. So that's the problem. Because think about it. Maybe it's worth 50 million, right? I think that's what they pay, 50 million plus 5 or something like that. Yeah. They probably paid like 20 up front. 20 million gets you close to getting, what's his name? Fofana.
Yeah.
So you see Manchester United are looking at it like, yeah, probably not. Yeah. So I don't know. Watson, I would love him, but I think at the end of the day, he's more of an icing on the cake signing in the sense that you have a set team. He's so young. You don't want to put on, like, would you want to pair him and Mainu together that are both young, they're both developing? That's a lot of pressure to put on two. Not that it can't be done. It's just we don't have a Modric or a Toni Kroos where then you can bring these two young midfielders into the team and develop them as well with the pressure of Manchester United. So it might be a case where we get our team to a level where we have solid foundations, and then you're like, okay, we have our defense sets, we have our attack set, we can go spend 100 million on Wharton, and it wouldn't be looked at as, oh, this is what it was Manchester United doing. Yeah. So good player, but I would think maybe a season or two later is when we go for him.
Yeah. I think Wharton value keeps going up, but I think we might get him if Palace drop lower down the table, which is unlikely. Some other comments from earlier. I'm not sure about the midfield of Zubi, Bruno, and Kobe will do in the Prem. Not enough legs. They aren't athletic enough for the Prem. I think Zubi and Kobe are plenty fine at, and even Bruno's a decent enough athlete. I think it's more so the
discipline.
It's just discipline. Yeah, like that's the real issue. Like I think the need for athleticism is a bit overrated in the Prem. Like I think it's a bit overrated. I think people talk like we have a bunch of track runners in the Prem. It's not the case. Like
listen, for a good example is that I like Onana, Amadou Onana from Everton, but the way our Manchester United tacticals talk about this guy, you guys are doing a little bit too much now. Calm down. Calm down. Like being an athlete is not the only thing that you need to be a defensive midfielder. There's a lot.
Right. 100%. Let's see. Eze will be a good replacement for Bruno. He has what Bruno has and more. I hope we go for him. I really am a big fan of Ebere Eze, my Nigeria brother. You feel me? But again, Eze is an interesting one because everyone wants him to play as a 10, but he's always played he's mostly played as a wide player in his career. Yeah. Right? Like, I think he's a very good player. I don't know enough about his positional awareness as a 10, right? Because because that's the real when you play in a 4-2-3-1, you kind of need or you just don't play with the 10 and you play him as a wide player, but we already have we're
enough
looking at
players like that.
we have enough players like that, right? But yeah, I like Eze. I would welcome him to the side and just figure it out later. But let's see. I think Bruno might leave toward the end of the transfer window. I think that's why we have been linked with Xavi Simons, because I don't see Ineos renewing his contract. That's actually an interesting take. Here's my thing with that though. I've been thinking about this Bruno thing a lot, because if somebody offers a 70 million for Bruno, we should take it. Like I'm being so serious. People laugh at me. If somebody offers 70 million for Bruno, you need to take it. He will never, his value from here, this summer window on, is going down. It will never be 80 million, 85 million after this season, or whatever people think he's worth. It will not be that high.
How many players do we want from PSG? Simmons has been linked. Ugarte has been linked.
Mm-hmm.
And they're asking for, rumored asking for 70 million for Ugarte. Well, let's just say your point might not be too far-fetched. I'm not saying it's going to happen where we sell Bruno, but you're right on the contract side. And Manchester United going to want to offer a 29-year-old increased pay.
Right.
If you won't want 3 years, you want 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
He's gonna want upwards of 300K, right? And he can get that somewhere. I think he can get that at PSG. I think he can get that in Saudi League. But would he want to go to? I think he's more driven than that personally. I think he doesn't want
to. But PSG would make sense for him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
PSG would make sense for him.
Would be a great club for him, right? Champions League football. The pace of the league, I think, is more suited to him. I think he'd be playing under better, higher quality managers. I'm just being real.
They're trying to sign Osimhen as well.
Yeah. Osimhen's a transition player. So it would work. I think it could work for him. I really do. I think he loves the club. I really think he doesn't want to leave Manchester United. I don't see him. The Manchester United has been so good to him. It has taken his career to places I don't think it really should have gone. But I think he's a Manchester United through and through. He really loves the club. So I can't see him leaving to go to a
money can change things.
That's true. But he's already on 250, right? What is it? What is he on? No, maybe not.
No. I don't think he's on 250. I think he's on 170 or so.
Yeah, 175. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. So I mean, who knows? My guess, that's my gut feeling, but I don't think this thought is crazy. I think this is actually very interesting.
I think it's an interesting point. We'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of shocks in the window still, because a lot of teams haven't done anything.
Business, yeah. A lot of teams haven't done business. A lot of the top teams, Liverpool hasn't really done anything. Arsenal's kind of, sort of agreed stuff with Calafiori, right? But really, there hasn't been a lot of moves. There really has not, especially in the Premier League. There hasn't been a lot of movement. So
I don't know.
We'll just have to see.
Would you take a situation where we signed Simmons and Ugarte, but we traded in Bruno? Would you take that?
Yes, absolutely, 1,000%, 1,000%. I wouldn't even hesitate. What? Oh my goodness! Those two players for him? Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't even. If they offered us that, I'd be elated. I'd be so happy. It'd be like a weight off my shoulders. I'd be thrilled. Absolutely.
Do you think that's a good deal for us or for them?
It's a good deal for both teams, I think. First of all, I rate Xavi Simons. I really do. I think that he's so versatile. I think those type of players are the players that we need. This season, especially this season on loan. I don't know if the league I watch after Premier League is the Bundesliga, right? That's the league I spend a lot of my time watching, right? And the way he came into that league as a 21-year-old and just played so well, helped his team qualify for the Champions League, showed his versatility. They would play in a back three. He'd be one of those inside 10s. They play a 4-4-2. He'd play as a left midfielder. Like he can play as a 10. I think his future is as a 10, in my opinion, because he likes to like start off on the left and kind of drift into those half spaces. We'll just start him as a 10 and let him kind of float into that left hand area. Like he has so much potential as
Well,
a footballer, you know. So
yeah, PSG don't seem to want him.
because they have I think the way they want to play. I think they rate that young they rate
What's his
Barcola.
name? Barcola, yeah.
They rate
Barcola.
Barcola, which is I think Xavi Simons is better than Barcola personally.
Interesting.
And they also want to add. I think they're going for Sancho. Like I mean, that's
True.
I don't think those links are fake.
There's a lot of it's a lot of business we have with
a lot
PSG.
of business. Yeah, a lot of business with PSG. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think there's like, you know, in the NBA, like this stuff like this is real simple. You just trade players, right? You trade players and it's easy. Like it happens all the time. But in football, it's just they don't do swap deals. Like swap deals don't happen as much as I think they should.
Well,
like, hey,
you know,
I need a defender. You need a striker. Let's figure something. Like, you know, like I'm surprised that doesn't happen.
We should try and figure something out because I think there could be a lot of mutual benefit for both sides here. Give us Sancho, we'll take Xavi Simons. Give us Ugarte and give us Ugarte and you can have Bruno. Like those are situations that we could do, that we can, you know, make something happen. And 100%. I don't think it's that far of a thought process for the operators in this deal, for instance, because financially we can structure it in such a way that we can write certain things in our books that will be of benefit to us and for benefit for PSG as well. 100%. So I don't know. There's something's gonna happen between Manchester United and PSG, and I think it might be more than one player because the links are just far too strong. Bayern Munich are not looking at Siemens anymore; they're looking at Doué. So someone's gonna buy him. It's not gonna be Barcelona because they're looking at other players. Yeah, we'll see. Plus, we have Van Nistelrooy, which was a player that really helped Siemens as well. So
it's the links are. It's. I think what's been happening is I think they've just been having casual conversations. Hey, what do you think about this player? What's going on with this player? Is he for sale? You know, just very casual. That's the vibe I've been getting from the links. Like the 70 million thing, like to your point, you know, I think I don't know too much about Florian or whatever his name is, so I'll take your word for it on his consistency.
He's very spotty when it comes to valuations.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that. I don't want PSG to sign João Neves. That's one of the reasons I don't want Ugarte, so we can sign Neves.
What do you think about João Neves, really?
I think he's mad overrated. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think that he is mad overrated, like 100 million, right? Isn't that what they were saying?
Something like that. Yeah. It's gonna be 75.
No,
they were saying 120 million euros, so 100 million pounds.
I don't think he's that good.
He's Benfica of late. Yeah, I'm kind of suspect of the talents that.
Yeah, bro. What did Enzo? They paid 100 million for Enzo. Not good enough.
Enzo, what's that other center back, Antonio Silva? His stock has gone like this.
Yeah,
like
bro.
It's gone way down.
Like João Neves is not that. Like, is he better? João Neves not better than like a Vitinha or like a Fabian Ruiz.
When he broke through, I was like, this guy's interesting. Like, but then he's not gonna get any taller.
No, he's like tiny.
He's gonna be under Herrera Pro Max, man. That's what.
No, for real, bro. That's a good comp. Like, first of all, I like Herrera, but Herrera's.
I liked him, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. This guy is not up. Like, listen, statistically, his numbers look amazing, but again,
it looks great.
It's the league.
If you could have gotten UEFA for similar stats with a better 40? Physical profile.
How much did Brighton? They paid 40 for him,
30 million pounds, bro.
30. You know that's the type of player we could have gotten. I think Max Pfeiffer is of the same level. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be so real.
If not better.
So why would you know, if PSG want to spend 100 million pounds or euros on him, please go ahead. Please. Yeah. I've had it. You know, I have no issues with that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
He's just, or he's really hyped up to the level where I think fans just see his name and they're like, oh my
yeah,
goodness,
yeah,
we have to go for Neves. And I'm like, listen,
yeah.
our
And the
scouts
comps,
haven't gone for him for a reason, guys.
facts.
Like,
The
chill
comps are
out.
the comps are crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
But I
good,
just
but he's not
he's
he's not
not
spectacular.
the profile of the player worries me. Right. I just don't like my midfielders kind of, especially when you're not like a Paul Scholes or something where you're just
Yeah. Like your passing is just outrageous.
your passing is just so good that it doesn't matter how small you are. Right. He's
Yeah.
not that. He's not that type of player. You feel me? So yeah, it's a weird one still. It's a weird one
I
still.
would still go for I just listen, guys, I feel like the player I watched play against Arsenal in the Europa League was a really good player. Okay, he was dominant in that midfield. He was everywhere, and I feel like I know some of our scouts don't rate him. At least that's what the rumor is, and some people do. So there's a bit of disagreement there. I feel like what PSG are trying to do requires a different profile. That's what it is. That's just all it is.
Right.
So maybe Neves fits that profile better, and I think Ugarte would fit. Listen, you're never going to have a question whether Ugarte is giving you 100%. Number one, we need that. Is he the best passer of the ball? No, but he's a smart passer. Where in the sense that he's not going to do something stupid. That's that's what we need. Like,
I agree
get the
with
ball, pick the right pass, and his passing percentages are really high. And he's not passing a low volume of passes. He gets on the ball a lot. So there's somewhere in there that Ugarte makes sense that I think people just kind of overrated. And I'm like, listen, PSG just didn't work out. But if we can get a good deal for him, he'll make more sense in our profile, in our midfield than Neves right now. If you can get an Ugarte, if you can get a Xavi Simons, maybe Bruno leaves, I don't know. But if we can get those two profiles in, I'm good. If we even drop on a Fofana in there, I think we're good enough in midfield for 2 seasons. So I don't know.
100%.
We'll see.
Yeah, 70 mil is too much. PSG is still moving crazy. 100%. We know what.
No, that fee is not. It's either gonna drop or it's not real. I don't think that's gonna be.
I don't see that being legitimate, especially when they bought him for less. You know what I mean? And he didn't raise his value last season.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? So
they bought him for what, 60 million euros? They're gonna sell him for 70. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it personally. But guys, we're gonna wrap up. My guy, thank you so much for hopping on the channel. Thank you for showing so much love. Guys, make sure to follow Brian on all of his socials. All of his socials are in the description. His TikTok page, which is, kind of like a men's fragrance page. You feel me?
Just fragrances. I don't know. I know my camera is not looked on here, but look, listen. If you guys want fragrances, obviously I like anime too, so we're gonna ignore that. If you guys love fragrances, if you guys love, men's style and all that kind of stuff, I have a bunch. I have over 90 fragrances, man. So
come on, man.
Ask me any questions.
Next time I get Brian on here, we're gonna do a fragrance of the week, man. So we can drop us a little fragrance of the week. You know what I'm saying, for the fellas who need to up their style, their fashion. You know what I'm saying. So appreciate it as always, guys. Like I said, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You feel me? And we will talk real soon. All right. Deuces.
See you guys later.